We lurched to the starting line. A long moment passed. I read that in a book once. A long moment passed. But this was a really long moment. Finally, the gorilla spoke again. Very well, he said with a nod. We'll begin and see where it takes us. My name is Ishmael. He seemed to expect a reaction of some kind, but to me this was just a noise. It would have been the same as if he'd said his name was Whizbang. He already knew my name, so I just waited. Finally, he went on again. Referring to the young man who was just here, his name is Alan Lomax, by the way. I said I didn't ask him what he wanted, but I did ask him to tell me a story that would explain why he was here. Yes. A story? Yes. I asked for his story. Now I ask for yours. I don't know what you mean by a story. Ishmael frowned as if he suspected I might be playing dumb. Maybe I was, a little. He went on. Your classmates are doing something else this afternoon, aren't they? Whatever they're doing, you're not doing it. Yeah, that's right. So explain to me why you're not doing what your classmates are doing. How does your story differ from theirs if it brings you to this room on a Saturday afternoon? Now I knew what he meant, but it didn't help. What story was he talking about? Did he want to hear about my folks' divorce, about my mom's adventures in boozing, about the problems I was having with Mrs. Monstro at school, about my former boyfriend Donnie, the famous guy who wasn't? I want to understand what you're looking for, he said, answering these questions as if I'd spoken them aloud. I don't get it, I told him. The teachers I'm used to don't ask you what you're looking for. They just teach what they teach. And isn't that what you were hoping to find here? A teacher like the ones you're used to? No, I wasn't. Then you're in luck, Julie, because I'm not like them. I'm what is called a maioretic teacher. A maeutic teacher is one who acts as a midwife to his pupils, or, of course, her pupils. Do you know what a midwife is? A midwife is someone who helps at childbirth, isn't that right? That's right. A midwife helps bring into the light an infant that has been growing inside its mother. A maeutic teacher helps bring into the light ideas that have been growing inside his pupils. The gorilla stared at me intently while I thought about this. At last he went on. Do you think there are any ideas growing inside of you? I don't know, I told him. It was the truth. Do you think something is growing inside of you? I looked at him as blankly as I could. He was beginning to frighten me. Tell me this, Julie. Would you have come here 2 years ago if you'd seen my advertisement? That was easy. I told him no. So something has changed, he went on. Something inside of you. This is what I want to know about. I must understand what brought you here. I stared at him for a while. Then I said, do you know what I say to myself all the time? I mean all the time. 20 times a day, I say to myself, I've got to get out of here. Ishmael frowned, puzzling over this. I'll be taking a shower, or washing the dishes, or waiting for the bus, and that's what'll pop into my head. I've got to get out of here. What does it mean? I don't know. He grunted. Of course you know. It means run for your life. Is your life in danger? Yes. From what? From everything. From people walking into schoolrooms with machine guns, from people bombing airplanes and hospitals, from people pumping nerve gas into subways, from people dumping poison in the water we drink, from people cutting down the forests, from people destroying the ozone layer. I really don't know all the stuff because I don't want to listen. Do you know what I mean? I'm not sure. I mean, do you think I know what an ozone layer is? I don't. But they say they're poking holes in it, and if the holes get big enough, we're going to start dying like flies. They say the rainforests are like the planet's lungs, and if we cut them down, we'll suffocate. Do you think I know if this is right? I don't. One of my teachers said that as many as 200 species of plants and animals go extinct every day because of what we're doing to this planet. I remembered that. I've got a good memory for stuff like that. But do you think I know if it's true? I don't, but I believe it. This same teacher says we're adding 15 million tons of carbon dioxide to the air every day. Do you think I know what this means? I don't. All I know is that carbon dioxide is a poison. I don't know where I saw it or heard it, but the suicide rate among teenagers has tripled in the last 40 years. Do you think I go looking for this stuff? I don't. But it jumps right out at me anyways. People are eating the world alive. Ishmael nodded. So you've got to get out of here. That's right. Ishmael gave me a few seconds to think about that. Then he said, but this doesn't explain why you've come to see me. My ad doesn't say anything about getting out of here. Yeah, I know. It sounds like I'm not making any sense. Ishmael cocked an eyebrow at me. I've got to think about this, I told him. I got up and turned away to face the rest of the room. There wasn't much scope for sightseeing. Just those high, dusty windows, those pus-colored walls, and that tired-looking little bookcase at the other end. I headed for the bookcase. I could have saved myself the trip. There were a bunch of books on evolution, a bunch on history and prehistory, a bunch on primitive peoples. There was a book on chimpanzee culture that looked interesting, but nothing on gorillas. There were a couple of archaeological atlases. There was a book with the longest title I've ever seen, something like Man's Rise to Civilization as Shown by the Aboriginal Peoples of the World from Prehistoric Times to the Coming of the Industrial State. There were 3 translations of the Bible, which seemed excessive for an ape. There was nothing I could curl up with in front of the fireplace, even if I had a fireplace. I poked around for as long as I could, then I went back and sat down. You wanted me to tell you a story. I don't have a story, but I've got a daydream. A daydream? Ishmael said, half a question. I nodded. He said a daydream would do very well. Okay. This is what I was daydreaming about this morning. I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if I got down to room 105 of the Fairfield building and I went in there and there was this woman at the reception desk and she looked at me and said, wait, Ishmael said, excuse me for interrupting. Yes? You're plunging. Plunging? Hurtling, charging ahead, rushing. You mean I'm going too fast? Yes, much too fast. You're not working under a deadline here, Julie. If you intend to share this story with me, then please let it unfold leisurely as it unfolded in your head this morning. Okay, I said. I see what you mean. You want me to start over? Yes, please do. But no plunging this time. Take a moment to gather your thoughts, relax, and let it come back to you. Don't summarize it for me. Tell it as it happened. Take a moment. Relax. Let it come back to me. He didn't seem to realize what he was talking about, what he was asking for. I was sitting down, sure, but I couldn't sit back and be comfortable because if I did that, my feet would dangle over the edge and I'd feel like a 6-year-old. I have to keep my feet on the floor because I had to be ready to get out of here in half a second. If you think you wouldn't feel that way, then I suggest you sit down toe-to-toe with a full-grown gorilla and try it. The only way for me to relax and daydream would be to curl up in the corner of the chair and close my eyes. And I just wasn't quite ready to do that in the presence of a 1,000-pound ape. I gave Ishmael a sort of snotty, impatient scowl intended to convey all that. He took it in, mulled it over for a bit, and then did something that almost made me laugh out loud. He used 2 fingers to do a little swish over his heart and then solemnly held them up for my inspection. Just like a Boy Scout. Crossed my heart and hoped to die. What the hell? I did laugh out loud.